Hello, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar today. Today, it's going to be all about the events calendar customizations, and we're going to start off with, first of all, I introduce Stephen Page here, and behind the scenes, producer extraordinaire, we have Jamie for the events calendar. And so, Stephen, why don't you start us off with the customization that enlighten us on how we can customize TEC?
Sure. One of the requests that we actually get frequently is how to do a customization of a specific part of an events page. Generally, the simplest way is to do a template override. So I'm going to walk you through one. This is a single event page. The theme is 2021, and I'm going to just kind of walk you through that. So first, we've got we're gonna change this to a button. Sorry, where's the? Oh, it's not showing here. This event doesn't have a website. Ha 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 ha. Let me edit this event and give it a website link. Of course, I picked a bad one for the example. So we're gonna go down here and under event website, we're gonna send you to google.com right there. There we go. That'll work for this. Easy to test. Okay, so we've updated our event, so it has a URL, and now if we refresh this page, you see the website down here, right? This section, sometimes it's hard to find these, but if you inspect an item and then it's like, we want this whole, not that section, the events meta, you can see this comment here. Oop, you might not be able to see that. We have this section here that says event meta. So like here's the primary event meta, and if we look, that website is in it, right? So you can actually copy the class, right? Like this. And then you can go into your editor and search for that. And it's going to show you a ton of them. And what we're looking for is, I should have probably made this a little narrower to make this easier for you. So we're looking for the details, right? There it is. There's that H2. We go back to our browser, H2, single section title. Yeah, sure. Right? So single section title, right? This template at the top has a doc block. It says this is our single event meta details template. And then it has this is what we care about, is override this template in your own theme by creating a file at your theme, tribe events, modules, meta, details, PHP. Okay. So basically what we do is we go into our theme. I'm in plugins, give me a moment. And I'm using 2021, and we're going to create this. This is what we're looking at, right? Tribe events, modules, meta, details.php, tribe events, modules, meta, details.php. So I have created this file. Once you create that file, what I would do is go straight down to where the HTML starts and then just add something like this, right? So we just added a paragraph tag. And the point to doing that is then we can refresh this page and we see the here, and that means that our override's working, right? So let's take that out. And now we want to go down and we want to find website. Here's the event website code. Now this gives us, it checks to make sure, this is what caught me at the beginning. If it's empty, if the URL's not there, it won't show anything, right? So we want to stay inside this if, so that we don't have to go and retroactively add crazy websites to all of our events, but we want to add a button instead, right? Or a link that looks like a button. So we would, instead of doing this, which just lists, which just lists the URL, right? We'd want to go in and we want to do something like, this is a span, and we don't want the title to show. We just want a button, and save this. And now if we refresh this page, you'll see there'll just be the URL here. Maybe, come on. Right? And then we can style that like a button. So we can, and I'll actually do that in the browser just so you can see. We're gonna inspect, find that. Right. So here's our URL. Here's our span that encloses the URL. We have, if you hunt in our styles, we want to find a we want to find buttons, right? So here's our buttons, import buttons border. So then if we're looking here, you see buttons, and we can say, oh, we want like a regular border button. So we should be able to add this class, bear with me, to the span, and then we get all of the styles of, we get some of the styles of a button, and then we can go in and we can change the styles. So we can say things like padding, it's going to be 10 pixels. Background color is going to be, I'm just going to pick colors at random. We're actually going to go in here and we're going to say background none, background color none. Interesting. I wonder why it's highlighted in gray. Oh, whoops. Background color. Oh, yeah. Doesn't like that. Transparent. We're still getting that gray. So, and then we can do borders. One pick solid. Let's say blue. Let's give it a little bit of margin at the top, just to space it out from the. We need to give this one a little margin. Margin bottom 10 picks. There we go. Thank you. And then we can do, border radius, say 3 picks, just to round the corners a little bit. And then we can also go in, if we wanted to, we can go in and this, we look in the file here, go back up to the top of the file, we have this tribe get events website link that creates that. If we look at that function, come on, boink. There's a filter for it. Apply filters. There's for the target, right? Oh, and here's for the label. So we can add a filter to that. When this label comes in, you see this function here, this sprintf. These are placeholders, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Generally, these are actually indexed, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So the label is going to be the text, and we can use this filter to change that text to whatever we want, like come see us, go buy tickets, we love you, what have you. And I'm going to do a filter later, so I won't do that right now. But here we've got sort of a button, and of course the styling is all entirely up to you, and in how you do it. And then this is how you edit a template file. So we just put this template right where the top of the template says to copy it, and then we make changes in it. So, all right. How are we doing here? Do we have any questions, or shall I jump to another example?
Nothing in the chat yet, but everyone feel free to put any kind of customization requests or questions that you might have into the chat, and we can, Stephen can work on them live. But in the meantime, if you want to do another example, that would be great.
Sure. Okay, we're gonna just get rid of that, and we're gonna close that. I have there was another one for community events, and I felt like it was a good example because it shows a few different things that you can do when we're filtering. So I said I was going to do a filter, so we're going to do this one. So the request was to send an email to somebody when an event is created in community events at of a specific category, right? So we're using this filter. This needs to change. Just closed everything. If you can hear my dogs, I apologize. They're being weird today. So this do action, right? When the event is created and saved, this action fires. Actions let you do something, and they pass you data, but you can't really change the data. You just do something. Whereas a filter, it passes you data and you change that data before it acts on it. So we're using this action. So when this happens, we want something else to happen, and we see that it passes us an event ID. Okay. So then we come in here and we add action to that ID or to that hook, and here's our event ID. So the first thing we want to know is it in the right category, right? So we have that event ID. We have a function that lets you get the category IDs from the event. We have our category here, which if you hover over this URL, you can maybe see at the bottom of my screen that the tag ID is 18. If you click into it, and we give it a second, if you edit, or if you look in the URL, here it is right here. See, this tag ID is 18. So that's the ID that we are concerned with, right? So we go back to our snippet. Here is our desired ID, right? This gets all of the IDs for this event. So then the first thing we do is we check, is 18 in our list of IDs? And if it's not, we return, which means we don't do anything, right? This is like, nope, it's not the right ID. Just move along. Nothing to see here. Then we get an email here. We're just grabbing the organizer's email from the event. So we have get organizer email from the event. We do a sanity check just to make sure that if they're, maybe the organizer doesn't have an email set up or whatever. And then, of course, we can't send an email. And then once we get that email, we're going to grab the organizer's name, which organizers are a post type. So we're going to use the title. And then we set up a subject. Hey, John Doe, just want to let you know about, and we added the category in here. Escape. And we're, of course, escaping everything just to be safe and with your name on it. And then we use WP Mail. We use WordPress's own. Oh, you stinker. We use WordPress's own WP Mail. Let me go back to that snippet. Sorry. There it is. To send the email rather than do anything fancy, unless you want to do something fancy. Here we go. WP Mail. Boom. So, okay. Again, for folks that don't know, this is an action. You have two types of hooks in WordPress. You have action hooks and filter hooks. We have both of them. An action lets you do something when something occurs. Think of it as like just a trigger, and will sometimes pass you some data. A filter is a trigger often with multiple pieces of data, but one in particular, the first one in the filter. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here here we go, apply filters. So here's our hook name that we need, and then here's the data that's passed. And then this first piece of data is what you change, right? Let's see if I can find another one that has slightly different. No, all of these are just sending one piece. Oh, here we go. So here, tribe community form field label, it passes the label, but it also passes you the field object so that you have that for reference. But this is the only one for a filter that you can actually change. So when in your function, no, here, if this were a filter at the end, we would do return, what was that, label, label, right? And then in the code here, this function returns at the very end. So that means that instead of the label that the function created, it would return the label that you created in your filter. Okay. Clear? Maybe, hopefully. There we go. All right. For questions.
Aaron wanted to know, Aaron says, I want to know how to make edits to only one event in a series, but still have it be part of the series.
Okay. Let me see if I have a series set up. I think I do. Series can create, a series can contain different events. Like you can create a different event. Series events don't have to be identical, and we can say let's see, this says events in the series. Let's go to our events, and we're gonna all right, so like this one isn't in a series, so we should be able to go in here and add it to our series. Okay. And then if we go back to our series, you see it's listed here, and then you can edit each of these individual events. If you create a recurring event and you want to change something, let me see if I have a recurring event. Oh, wait, I know, probably easier for me to do it this way. Let's go to month view. This is a series. I don't think I have one. Let's create one real quick. New event, recurring event. And we're gonna just add this. We're gonna start today, and then we're gonna schedule multiple events. We're gonna say weekly, every week, ends after 10 events. Okay. That's enough to create this. Publish. Okay, now it says this is part of a series with 10 events. If we go to the series, it let us edit. But when we do that, it sends us back to this original one, right? Or does it? See this, the date here? Let's change this. You should get this if it's a recurring event, right? And this says, do we want to change all the events? Do we want to change this events and all future events? Or do we want to just change this one? So we would choose, we just want to change this one. Okay. And then we're going to go to the front end. It's still in the series, this recurring event series, but this one is different. If we go back to we go to our series now, and we're going to just open up a couple of these. I have a lot of tabs now. See, this one still says test. I picked badly. This one also says test. If we go back from here to this event, this was the November 8th one. Sorry, this one you see says testing. So that event changed. So if they're recurring events, if you make a change to a specific one, then it should prompt you for if you want to change all of the recurring events, just this one or this one in all future events. And a series is different from a recurring event because they don't have to be, they don't have to all be the same event, right? We can go to series here and you'll see we have two series. One is the recurring event series, which we just looked at, that has 10 recurring events, one that we modified. The other one has 13 totally separate events, right? So this would be like, I've got these events and I want to group them as a series because they're all, you know, one speaker, but he's talking about different subjects. You know, he's doing 5 different TED Talks or what have you, right? Or, you know, we're group, you know, so series lets you group things on a level outside of each individual event. It lets you say like I'm grouping these together because they are all the same speaker or they're all at the same venue or what have you. But it would be where, you know, or we're running a series of speakers, right? You know, there's a local college that has famous writers come in and read poetry, you know, Eagle Pond series. This is locally for me. So that Eagle Pond series would all be these different events, but each event would be a different author reading from a different book. So, so that's sort of, there's like 2 answers to your question, depending on how you build your series. If you're building it out of individual events, it's really easy. If you're building it out of recurring events, you just have to edit that particular recurring event and then follow the prompts to make sure that that's the only one that changes. Okay.
And this really isn't so much of a customization question for me, but if anyone hasn't seen the news, can you give us a little insight into what series passes are going to be?
I'm I'm not working on series passes.
Okay.
But yeah, series passes is it's going to be a way to allow, you know, like, so I said the Eagle Pond series is our local poetry reading thing, right? Where we have authors come in and read from their books. You would buy a pass to the whole series, so you could sell a ticket for multiple events as long as they're in that series, right? There's a lot of technical nuance there, which is why it's still in the works. But the idea is yeah, it would be ticketing for series and or potentially recurring events. But I can't give you a lot of details because I just you know, I talked with the devs that are doing it and the folks that are working on it, but I'm not personally working on it, so I don't know a lot of.
I just know it's a big deal and there's a lot of people excited for it, but it's coming. It's on the way.
It's super exciting. It's probably it predates series. Back when we just had recurring events, and tickets for recurring events is probably our most requested feature ever. So it's super exciting, and we've literally got one of our best devs working on it. But I can't give you a lot of details. And I
put a link to our to the blog post about series passes into the chat, and that has a demo site that we created specifically for series passes, so you can play around with the features. And then there's also a feedback form in there as well within that blog post, within the demo site, actually, if you have any feedback on it.
There you go. Thanks.
So we have a question by Arson here, and this is about the community events add-on. And they say that the client wants easy schedule conflict checking. Is there a way to let guest user to see single venue calendar that includes private events with name and info obscured?
That is not built in. And that would take more, it would take more customization than I could do here and now. I mean, yes, theoretically it is possible. It would require some customization. And on the level that if you're not code savvy, I would probably hire a third-party dev to write you some code for it. It wouldn't be incredibly difficult from a dev perspective, but it would be, I mean, you'd want someone that was fairly meticulous to make sure that like they're doing everything properly. I mean, especially if you're dealing with private events and stuff like that. That's a complex ask, but it's definitely doable. I do know. I mean, you can see a venue event. You'd have to do something with the like for just so people know what the heck I'm talking about here. Hang on. So this event is at the Raynor Cafes. I don't even know if that's a real place, to be honest, although apparently it is. Google's mapping it. So if you go to the venue list, you can see the events, but of course you can't see the private ones unless you're, say, an admin, right? I don't have any private ones on my local right now, but so you would have to do something where when you know, for this kind of a display, you're overriding the private portion of it, you know. And then you'd have to do a template customization for those private ones to hide any of the information you don't want to actually show, you know. But we don't have something like that built in. That would be a customization. And like if you were working on the customization, you had a question, we'd probably, you know, we would endeavor to answer it, but like we're not, we can't do the customization for you. So your best bet is actually probably to hire a dev, a third-party dev to write the code for you, unless you're up to it yourself. So
I know B Smith earlier says I don't have a series button, and that's probably because I'm going to guess that you're not running Events Calendar Pro. That's a feature related to Events Calendar Pro, correct?
Yes, series is specific to Events Calendar Pro. So yeah, if we have series here, right? That lists our series. And then there was the control in the event itself. But right, I have plugins. So if I go to my plugins and my active plugins, let's just go to active plugins. I have a lot of plugins. And you can see I have Events Calendar Pro activated. If I deactivate it and I go back here to events, I'm just going to click on this. You'll see all the series stuff disappears. Recurring events stuff doesn't happen. There's no series here. And yeah, if I go into an edit an event, it won't let me add it to a series. Or set up recurring. There's no recurring event stuff because that's all part of Events Calendar Pro. Yep.
And Arson has a follow-up here. Is there a monthly view for a single venue?
Monthly view for a single venue. There's a few ways you can accomplish that. I have filter bar installed, and filter bar we can say I want just the events, the Cormier room, right? And then that gives you a URL that you can use with the venue ID in it, and that only shows events for that on month view.
And filter bar is one of our commercial add-ons.
Right, filter bar is one of our premium add-ons. The venue view itself, if you wanted, let me if you went to the venue itself, interesting, this one's got a if you went to the venue itself, then it would it uses list view. You can, oh, here we go, sorry. you can go in and change this. That's another customization, but there's a way to hook in and alter which view we use here. You would then probably have to do some tweaking because we haven't like built this out for every view. Otherwise, we just give you like an option to change it. But you could go in, hook into the filter, and say I want to use this view instead. So I can't remember that filter off the top of my head, but it would be in that's calendar. Actually, a lot of the new venue stuff is in Pro, not in. This part is obviously this is still here. We're still here, but like when I refresh this, you'll see like this will disappear. Oh, something happened here. Oh no, I guess venue views are actually part of Pro too. My bad. Let me go back and reactivate it. We just made some big changes to that recently, actually, to venues and organizers and the things that you can do with them. So let's see if we can go back and do this again. There we go. So here's our cafe. You can do something like as simple as this. We go in and we look for events at this venue. Come on. Oh, I know what's going on. I'm looking for this string, and that's not going to work because the string is copy. There we go. So this section here, V2. That's the content title. But you've got pieces in here in our views for the venues and that kind of thing. This is an events calendar. If you go into Events Pro, source views, might be in Pro. Yeah, so like here's single venue, right? So this is the base file for this view. And if we go map link, venue address, website URL, try events, event venue description, and now here you see there's upcoming events list, right? And it says do action. So you see this action, and you can then like hook into that, and see here we've got right now it's echoing out this tribe venue upcoming events, which we deprecated. Interesting. I'm in the wrong one. Like I said, we just recently did. Let me see if I can. That was 6.0 single venue. So not Pro. Venue. Meta. No.
Are you telling me, Stephen, that you're learning things on the fly here as you're working with these customizations?
Yeah, our code base is pretty big. But yeah, so like we can. This is Trivent. These are headers. So this way of like finding these sometimes is a little funky. We want to find Trivent venue view. So if we go tribe views venue view, they changed here's the get HTML. So they're using this template. See here, this list view. And you see this comment. Let me move this out of the way a little so you can see it. Since this view has historically been rendered with list, let's allow developers to define templates for the all view and fall back on the list when it's not found. So in here, you can hook into here and change which view is being shown. So, and then in the end, it's using this, this parent, the get HTML file from the parent. So, yeah.
And speaking of some of the work that's been done, venues and organizers now have a category section, so you can add categories now to both venues and organizers.
Yep. If we go back here, now that Pro is reactivated, you can see venues and organizers both have, of course, venues and organizers both have a category section, so you can categorize them. And we made updates to the views for them, the individual views for them, so that you can do things like, or you can actually do venue views by category. So like we can do venues. I haven't set up a venue category, but like this view, there is a venue view by category now. So.
And something else that was recently added as well, that's a pretty cool feature, is multi-venue support.
Yes. Let's see if I can do that in this one. Okay, so yep, you get this button here, add another venue. You can add a second venue. So you may have, a party that's spilling out from one into the other, or, you may have an event where you have one main location and a couple of remote locations that are, connected via, whether it's, a big screen, like a movie showing could be happening in multiple places at once or something like that. So, yeah.
Tarek has a question.
Sure.
Using community events, once the event is published and users buy tickets, can we make it such that the organizer cannot delete the tickets? And their follow-up is, as we found an organizer accidentally deleted a ticket and the users complained.
I imagine
that happened.
Okay, so if we go into settings, and there's a community section in settings. Alerts, members. You can block access to the dashboard if you haven't done that already. And then I don't have community tickets activated. Give me a moment. Let me do that. So, I do have it activated. Interesting. So we're going to turn on community tickets. We're going to let them upload it. This here, the edit event tickets capability, is what you would wind up doing to, it shouldn't let them manage attendees. That almost sounds like it might be a bug. I don't think they should be able to delete tickets. I don't have any set up. I mean, unless somebody wants to, I don't know that I want to like take the time to set something up right now, but I would report that, because I don't think that is, phooey. Sorry. I don't think that's normal, to be honest. So I would probably actually reach out to our support and see, ask and see what's going on, because I don't think they should be able to. So if the person creating an event is an admin, or has some other access to your website outside of just creating a ticket, that there may be some difference there. But if it was just the person that created the event via the front end form, I don't believe they should be able to delete tickets. So,
and Arson wants to know, going back to the previous question, so you can hook into that after upcoming events area to add a whole new monthly section to that view.
We're talking about the venue view, right? So we're talking about, come on. Oh, phooey.
Yeah, the monthly view for a single venue.
Right, the monthly view for, yeah. You can actually hook in there and go back to venues and open one up. So what I'm actually talking about is not adding a monthly view. It's, let's see. This may not have events. No, this one doesn't have any events. It's not adding something after this. That would be replacing this with, instead of a list view, replacing it with a month view.
The list view just happens to be the default and the fallback option.
Correct. The list view is the default, and you'd have to do a little bit of customization, but you could change that from list view to month view, and then you would have to probably do a little bit of styling, and you may have to actually ensure they're probably loaded. It's probably not a big deal, but like there may be like a particular asset for month view that isn't loaded. I don't believe so, but like I would do it on a staging site and see how it looks, and then tweak it. If you're having an issue, reach out to support about it. But I think it should be fairly straightforward once you switch the view. So
one of the questions here: can the community event hosts choose the organizers? And I think off the top of my head, if I remember correctly, if somebody is submitting an event through the community events, I don't believe they can choose the organizers.
Time, date, event,
maybe you could double check on that for me.
Organizer details. Yeah, they should be able to.
Okay. Okay. So I think they can select them. They can't create them.
No, I don't think they can create one.
As part of submitting a community event, they can only select existing organizers. I don't think they can create them.
Yeah, I don't think they can create them. I think same with venues. I don't think they can create them. You see that, like, we should actually probably change this text because it should.
I was just gonna say I think you can try to create it, like at the top part. Can you just add anything there?
Oh yeah, you can. Look at that.
Oh, well.
See? So they can create them as well. I would imagine, and I'm not as familiar with the community events plugin as some of the others, but I would imagine that those organizers and or venues that get created are subject to the settings, the community event settings, where like whether the events come in as draft, etc. So that if they create an organizer or a venue, it comes in as draft. And there's ways. I know we have documentation on ways for, like, see, you can turn off. They can't create venues.
I got, yeah, okay.
Right. They can't submit anonymously, right?
Tarek says their question was, can they choose the venue category?
Oh, the venue category. No, not currently. Right, it would be listed here. We have an article on hooking into these to like make them required and things like that into the community events fields, and you could probably hook in an ad category, and I will actually make that a suggestion to the team, the community events team, to add that, because that would be very handy to give them basically a drop down like we have here with the categories in it, but not currently, no. So.
One other question I think was something that stumped me was when it comes to community events, I don't think it's enabled by default, but when somebody submits an event on the event submission page, you can't see who submitted that event. But since if you have anonymous submissions turned off, that means they should be a registered user on your site. So you actually have to go into the screen options or the view options, select submitter or user, and it would actually show up in that list of submitted events.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we're gonna skip that. Virtual if we, I think we can skip all this for now. If we submit this event, boink. Says the event submitted. View your submitted events. Is this where you're going? Because these, of course, are the ones that.
That's on the front end. I'm at in the back end as the admin looking at who submitted an event.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go to events, oh, you're talking about. So
and there should be one, should be a unpublished or submitted or something.
Draft. Yeah, because the setting.
Oh, draft.
To go to draft.
Yeah. And then, okay, see, author. If you go up to screen options, it stumped me before. Author wasn't selected by default for me at some point, so it was hidden for me, and I started wondering, well, how can I see? How can I figure out who submitted this event? And it turns out it's right there under the screen options.
Yep, it's right there under the screen options. It will show the author. I mean, otherwise, yeah, you'd have to go like into the event, into edit the event, and it will show you the author. It used to show you the author up here. It doesn't anymore. That's a WordPress. Oh, here it is down at the bottom. Author. Right, and you can actually change the author there if you know. I don't have another user on my local right now, but so yeah, that's the other place. But of course, if you get 100 submitted events, doing that for every single one of them would be obnoxious. So yeah, setting the screen option would be really useful for that.
Is there any customization of TEC that's one of your favorites? Like maybe you have a favorite code snippet or something?
Oh man. Actually, the thing that I like the most about TEC, about customizing TEC is, and here, let me just go to the calendar. And remember, I'm a dev, I'm a geek. I nerd out on some really weird stuff occasionally.
Oh, trust me, none of that comes through during these presentations.
Yeah. So when you're customizing, when you're dealing with CSS added something called custom properties, right? And this is what they look like. This one is from WordPress itself, right? Or actually, this is from the theme. Okay. They add these custom properties and they work like a variable, right? So you can just reference this everywhere and then it only changes in one place. We have a couple articles on this. If you read one and don't understand it, to reach out. I would love to talk your ear off for an hour about these because I think they're so cool. But let's look at something. Well, actually, we do customize, right? Let me close this. We still use the customizer, and the reason we do is because it is really great about leveraging that kind of thing. So if we go into the events calendar and let's say like the events bar, we're going to inspect this so you can see what's going on. And then we want to change the text color here. And we're going to pick something that's not too obnoxious, maybe like kind of pink. I don't know if you folks can see that difference, but what that does is it changes this. So this color uses a variable, right? And when it does that, this actually changes the value of that variable just for that button. So basically it says, hey, if you're this button, when you ask for that variable, this is the color that we use. And it lets you do some really, not only does it let you do some really simple things, but in the past you would have seen a lot of, let me go back.
I mean, it seems like this would be the way to be very specific in what you want to customize and not be having to use the important tag all over the place.
Yeah, and you don't have to use the important tag. That's the beauty of it, right? So like we can say this is what we want to change, and we're looking at the tribe event search button, right? So we're going to copy that, And we're going to do this, right? And then the background color is this variable, and the color, of course, because I clicked on it. The background color is one variable, and the text color is another variable, right? So you can see that says text, and it's long because, of course, we have a bunch of these, so they get long. But we're going to go ahead and copy this, and we're going to paste it in here, and then we're going to just do a colon, and we're going to say, I don't know, pick a color, green. Sorry, that's really hard to see, but light green. And it overrides it just like that, just there, and you can even do text, color text.
And those changes on the left are saved in the customizer, which means they're saved in the database, correct?
Right. These on the left here, this is the customizer ones. You can do this with if you're doing your own particular style sheet, like if you're adding a custom style sheet or something like that, you can do it too. But this lets you, previously you would, and for some people it's like, yeah, what's the big deal? I can just do this, right? Sure, you can, but the problem is this piece that you're doing here makes it so that if I change my mind later and I want to override it again, right, and I want it to be red, I have to use.
Sorry, light green's more important.
Right, you get into this fight of like, I didn't use important, so now I have to use important again, and you get into this battle of like, having to have this, like, this is the ultimate override, this is the ultimate override, where, and instead you can just change that, value, and it works, so. You can, this, for what it's worth, by the way, this color, right? You can see here, right? The customizer is overriding it, but if we look in this inspector, right? Here's the other lovely thing about this. All right, so here's style attribute where we were messing with it. Let me find it. Come on. Actually, probably easier to show you in the code. 1 second. That's going to be in CSS. There we go. So see here, they cascade. So like here we're saying, hey, that submit button, it should use this color, this tech color background, right? So let's use color background, right? Light green. That doesn't seem to work. Well, yeah, that's fine. But the point to it is if you do override something like this, well, you have to use something. We do root, and then everything turns green. By letting it use the cascade and everything, you can do some very intricate, careful things, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these at this point that we've set up. Both for the customizer and just for in our own styles. Like everywhere in our own styles, if we reference a color, this is how we reference a color. So, which makes it easy to override across the board or very specifically. So, yeah, we're going to discard those changes.
Tarek wants to know that when an event image is uploaded, community event front end, can the user see the preview of the image uploaded rather than just the file name?
Can they right now? If you're asking, so I don't believe they can. You would have to customize for that, I believe. Let me see. Choose image. I don't even. Do we got a picture in here?
Yeah, licenses JPEG right there.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. No, let me see.
Okay.
I got no photos or videos. Really? Sorry, newer
It's
laptop.
just nothing but code on your machine.
They really, I just got my laptop replaced recently, and there's not. Let me just. Whoa. We'll just go like. Wow, Google's got some weird suggestions. Lighthouse. Let's give me an image of a lighthouse. Just give me an image of a lighthouse. Thank you. Well, I'm sure Wikipedia won't mind if we steal this for this demo. That works, right? So now we can go.
Fair use.
Right. So here's our image. No, you can't see my licenses. Right. It shows you this. It doesn't. You need to write some JavaScript that would grab the you could probably hook into the JavaScript that's already there and customize it to not only change the name but then show a demo. But you'd have to restrict it. Don't forget, like, people are going to upload weird sized, weird shaped images. Until it gets uploaded, WordPress hasn't created all the thumbnails and everything. So at this point, creating a thumbnail of that would be, I say that, and I realize that I might be talking through my teeth here. Media library. See, I've got a bunch of, yes, it's not in here yet. That lighthouse isn't in here yet, right? So it hasn't been uploaded yet. And so you'd have to write some custom JavaScript code to catch into that and upload it. This is basically like a form element, right? A file upload form element, and that will need you'd need to write some custom code to display a demo, some JavaScript.
No.
And it's not a terrible idea. It's actually a pretty good idea. So I definitely would recommend like dropping that in the suggestion box, so to speak.
Well, apparently they said that the feature is there for event tickets image upload, so they want to know if you could do the same for events image also. So I don't know. Well, I don't know what the difference between the two is, where one would function like that and the other would not.
Are we talking about doing it on the back end versus doing it on the front end?
Let's see here. I believe so.
Yeah, because on the back end, if we go in here and let's just create a new event, right?
Yeah, they're talking about front end.
Right. If you're adding an image here, set featured image, right? We want to use this one. Well, right there, see that? WordPress is uploading that file. So now that file is there, and I set the featured image, and I get it displayed, right? But on the front end, when I'm submitting it, until you hit submit at the bottom of this form.
I gotcha.
Right? So, and this is, is a benefit to you as a site owner too, because if you get, I don't know, a person that comes in and starts to create an event and then bails, do you want to host their image? And like, let's just think in terms of like, crazy security stuff. If somebody manages to hit this form with a bot and submits a ton of image, starts to submit a bunch, but you manage to cut them off, do you want all those? You don't want all those images uploaded until that submit happens.
Right? I see. That makes sense now.
Right. Because like the bot may not submit the form, or somebody may, think of it as like, yeah, it has to do with like, do you want to host that image or not? And once you do a preview of that image, you have uploaded it and you are hosting it. So on the front end, we don't do that. Think of cart abandonment. It's sort of that kind of thing, form abandonment, right? Because if they abandon the form, there's no reason for you to have that image on your server. But it could be
totally makes sense now. Yeah. Well, looks like we're about out of time. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by and trying to stump Steven, but apparently we didn't do it this time around. But I'm going to let Jamie here take us out.
So thank you all for coming. You will receive an email tomorrow with a replay of this webinar. And if you didn't watch it, you're watching it now. And with some other helpful resources, like in our knowledge base, and a link to join our Facebook group, where you can also ask questions and be a part of our community. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks a lot.